This is Wednesday, July 15th. There are 370 days until San Diego Comic-Con 2021. Welcome to SDConCast, the official podcast of the San Diego Comic-Con unofficial blog.
VANUHTEE go. Oh my god, I love LiveJournal and my LiveJournal loves me. Current mood is hyperactive. Current music, Refuse 73. I love the color scheme. It's pink and purple. It looks green.
Good evening. I'm your host, James Riley, and joining me on the podcast, as always, Carrie Dixon.
Hey guys, thanks so much for joining us.
And joining us this month, Erin Tapkin.
Hello, everybody.
And our special guest from yesterday's, the co-owner and art director, Suman Chatterjee.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
All right, cool. So thank you all for joining us for this month's podcast. We'll take your comments and questions during the show. You can tweet us at SD_comic_con or use the hashtag SDConCast. We will also be keeping an eye on the YouTube live chat if you wish to comment there. First up, let's chat pins and cons. Carrie, why don't you kick us off?
So, Suman, for anyone who doesn't know, can you just tell everyone a little bit about yesterday's and how it got started?
Sure. So it's funny. I was going to look up the year we started before this, and I don't remember, but it's more than 5 years. So I feel like back
they all
then,
blend together.
It was in the mid-teens. Me and my friend DJ, we noticed there were some pin companies, or we noticed kind of pins showing up in just retail shops. He's owned art galleries and businesses for a long time. And so he had an apparel shop and a bookstore, so he'd get pins in. And we looked at them and we're like, these are fun, we should try and make our own. And we started with 3 designs, 3 really weird designs, and they were selling pretty good. And then we had our friend Kwong come on board as a co-owner as well. So it's been that since. It's been 3 owners, and I kind of handle the art side of things, production. DJ handles kind of like the business side of things. He handles the light and all the shit. And then Kwong is he's Candy. He was the photo director at Stance Socks. Like, he has a lot of like brand experience, and so he gets us a lot of our fun collabs, like the Misfits and Ultraman and things like that. So it's nice to have like a 3-prong company, because I feel like if 2 people get into an argument, then it's easy for the third person to just break it, And so I liken it to like a stool having 3 legs. Like, then it can stand. If you take out one of the legs, then it's gonna fall over, So. Sorry, the phone was ringing, so I muted myself. What else can I say about the company? We're based in Orange County, California. We've been doing Comic Cons for maybe I think five years now. I think this would have been our 6th one, maybe.
So does that mean that you've basically been doing Comic Cons like since your inception as a company?
Yes, I think the first year, the first con we did was actually was WonderCon was in LA that one time, remember?
Yep,
and so that was our very first comic convention. I'm pretty sure we did San Diego that following summer. So I guess we've done it since we started.
When you were starting the company, was that sort of like something that you talked about from the initial onset, like being at conventions?
I think that's kind of what I like about how we started. There was an innocence to it. There was no like master plan or anything. It was kind of like, oh, there's a convention coming up. Maybe we should see if we could show at it. And we realized like, wow, these are great ways to meet people and get like a bigger customer base. And so then it just became like a staple of our year. We'd almost plan our product lines and our personal schedules to these conventions, and it almost planned our trips for the year. There's Seattle, New York, and San Diego in the summer, and so it's been fun. And of course, this is the first year, that's been completely cut out, and so we're learning a whole new way to deal with business in that sense.
Speaking of business, so you have a bunch of licenses, Marvel, Misfits, a ton of stuff. Do license holders approach you, or do you seek out the licenses that interest you or you feel are a good fit?
Whenever we have a licensed product, it's usually through some kind of like a personal relationship or like some handshakes and deals, or just not really just seeking out, okay, who owns this license, how do we acquire it. Like it's much on a friendship basis. So any license we have, it's because we met someone that's already worked with them. We went to a licensing expo once, but the experience is just so cold there, because it's not about the creativity, it's not about the art, it's just, how many numbers can you do, where's your product being pushed, like. And our stuff is, we try and keep things fun and more art forward, and when things are that, it takes special brands to really connect with. Yeah. So it's much less of the go to a licensing expo or something. It's much more of a oh, hey, we started working with this guy with this license, like they're really cool, like I think you guys can make fun stuff for them, and then it kind of connects that way. So the conventions, actually, that's why those are great. That's where a lot of those contacts are made. We met some great people at Mondo last year, and it turned out the head of collectibles, he went to the same local comic shop as me growing up. And so like the owner of my local comic shop introduced us to each other. And it's so cool that we're both in this like world of collectibles and pop culture and stuff. And so now through meeting him, there's so many fun projects like we've been talking about on the side. And so it's fun for those reasons. Yeah.
Can you share any of those?
For Mondo stuff?
No.
I mean, I don't work there, so I probably could, but I shouldn't. Is that he'd get in trouble for talking about it?
Is that Brock you're talking about?
So Brock I know very well, but Brock also works with Mike. Have you met him?
Oh yeah, Mike.
So
yeah.
Mike is super cool dude. He's the one that went to my local shop.
Nice. I don't want to get you or Mike or Brock or anybody in trouble.
I will say that there's stuff that they're gonna work on that like I would love to have a hand in or help out with and stuff, and I'm hoping there's some opportunities there. But I mean, those guys are constantly doing crazy stuff.
They are. I've been a Mondo fan for quite some time, and seeing them grow from a 8-person operation into like this 50-person operation.
Right.
It's been interesting. So if we could go back to talking a little bit more about conventions and SDCC, I feel like pins are sort of like the ultimate convention item, because there's so many different options. There's got to be a pin for everybody. They take up such a small amount of space. You can have a small footprint of a booth, and also unlike apparel, you don't have to have a bunch of different sizes. So I know you said that that didn't necessarily influence your guys' decision to start a company, but how quickly did you realize that, hey, this is a good business model that is affordable to go to conventions compared to something like an apparel company?
So I think it's funny because going to conventions and comic book cons growing up, since 17 years old or something, and I'm 38 now. But it's so funny when you finally flip the coin and you become the person setting up the booth, and you show up with all your product and stuff, and just seeing that other side of it, where you really realize that, oh, this is pretty cool, is when at the end of the convention, all the goers empty out and then people start breaking down their stuff, how quickly we pick up our bins of pins and take down some banners and leave. We're just oh, this is pretty awesome. So having small product and stuff where, you don't need to carry sizes, it's pretty great for just for setup, teardown. You can bring so much stuff, and also traveling shows. I think the first time we flew far, taking a plane to a convention, it's oh, we just put all of our merchandise into suitcases and that was it. because a suitcase can hold so many pins.
So many pins. I mean, it's going to be thousands and thousands of pins in Ziploc bags. And
exactly.
Well, the fact that you had a history of going to these conventions and you knew it from the attendee side must have been kind of a boon for you guys. I mean, it just knowing what people were looking for and the price people were willing to spend, and I bet that gave you a good leg up.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I feel like the market is very saturated. Like pins are everywhere. You know, any booth you go to is going to have some form of pin. So it takes some thinking of like where your brand's values in what kind of pins you're going to make. Like, how do you set yourselves apart? Because when we started, it was insane because there were maybe 4 or 5 big brands that were doing any kind of pin. And I think we were nearly the only ones making pop culture based ones, at least in the convention space. So anyone that wanted pins was going to one place. And now that same audience that collects is dispersed completely. And so that was worrisome at first because it's like, oh, I don't know if we can exist when someone has $20 for pins and you don't know if it's going to come to your booth or somewhere else. When it's dispersed like that, it's like, can this still function? And then luckily it has. Like that worry wasn't necessary, you know? But we've also changed up where, you know, last year we tried a t-shirt. We did our first Misfits apparel stuff where we did the embroidered crew neck sweater. We did a t-shirt design, and we wanted it to be something special where we're not an apparel company all of a sudden, you know, it's just, we made this special thing. You could only get it at Comic-Con. And so doing that again with the one that Alex Pardee illustrated this year, I think we're trying to do more fun things like that where we don't have to really be just an enamel pin company anymore. And as long as it's pushing art, it's pushing humor, it's making someone smile, you know, I think that's all that really matters. So the dice set, I feel like is this year. You know, last year we actually did enamel pins of dice. And so it's kind of cool to have actual dice as an exclusive. So you guys just announced that too today.
Yeah, we did. And it's funny because we as a group were like going, oh my God, look at how beautiful this is. Like with the rainbow plating, like it's gorgeous.
They came out super nice. So I'm excited for those to get out there. I know we're kicking ourselves we always do it. Like even when we released the I Miss SDCC pin, like, you know, when you see an edition of 100, you're like, you know, for us, we're like, oh, we hope we could sell 100. And then it's just like, oh, okay, we should have ordered more.
You should have ordered like 2,000.
Yeah. So what's funny is, so this is the crazy story this week, because you guys posted that pin and I was overwhelmed with how many people connected to it, wanted it, and just that sentiment of like, sure, this is the biggest pop culture convention in the world. And internationally across everywhere, people come to this one show for comics and TV and movies. So of course there's people that are missing it if it has that big of an audience, you know? So that sentiment hits anyone, and you don't have to be a toy collector, a TV show person, a comic book enthusiast. Like that convention hall and San Diego in the summer is the thing you're going to miss. And so, I mean, that was the sentiment in designing. I designed that pin a year ago where it didn't have the slogan on it. It was just the convention center and a heart. Cause I love just like gas station style, like souvenir pins, that just something that looks retro and it's something you would pick up, you know, just, like a flea market or something. And so I thought it'd be fun to have something like that for the convention center. So I started working on that artwork of the actual convention hall. But then it just kind of sat there. I wasn't sure if it should say, like, what does this thing mean? Who's going to wear a convention hall, like, you know, as a pin? But then this year, like adding I Miss SDCC on the ribbon on it, I think was perfect. So I'm kind of glad we sat on that one.
Well, and the truly beautiful thing to me about this pen, and honestly, I think, James, you were the one who brought this up, is yes, it very obviously fits for this year, but it also fits any other year for the other, 11 months of the year. Because we do miss Comic-Con the other 11 months of a normal year.
Yeah, so totally. It works. It works in those other months too. So that's true. It's not like I miss SDCC 2020 or something, you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
Anytime you're not there, you're missing being at that show. So the thing that came up this week that was worrisome, but it ended up being okay, was it totally slipped my mind that using SDCC is copyrighted by the convention. And so they know me, so they emailed me directly. They're like, hey, this came to our attention, like, you know, you need a license for this. And so I was like, oh, well, there goes the pin. Like, we're not gonna be able to make it. And I let them know, like, it was really out of love for the show. Like, you know, it's something to commemorate it, and if there's a way to do that, if we could still make it. And so, I mean, everyone that works for Comic-Con is so nice and helpful. Like, for the amount of crap that I'm sure they deal with on a daily, emails to vendors, like all that, there's some of these people. And so we wrote up a contract for a licensing fee, and we upped the edition size to 300 units. I know it's not 2,000 or anything, but
no, people are going to be so happy to hear that.
Yeah, it's 200 more people that can get the pin. And so that was my announcement for this. It's like, edition size is bigger. It's officially licensed through Comic-Con. So it's really become this special item now, because even they were saying they make their own pins. So if we had come to them with this way before, they wouldn't have said yes, because they make their own merchandise. So we ended up creating this really weird collectible that is a licensed SDCC merch, but you know, they're not gonna post about it or anything. It just exists. So I think it makes it even that much cooler. So
it does make it that much cooler. And I just wanted to tell you that there's like a YouTube chat we watch this, and everybody right now is just going, yes, about the news of a higher edition size.
That's rad. Cool. And and also I like that you guys have such a broad voice, I feel like, to people that get exclusives, that kind of care about this convention. And so it's nice to, you know, when we wanted to release at midnight, because we're like, okay, that's where the day starts. Let's do a full day of San Diego sales. Like, it'll start Thursday morning at midnight. And the amount of people that are like, that's 3 a.m. my time, I can't do that. And so adjusting that to 9 a.m., you know, in the morning.
Yeah.
I think doing all those changes, but having you guys there to voice that stuff and let people know is super helpful. So I always appreciate that. So for anyone trying to keep tabs, 9 a.m. Thursday morning, the 23rd, there will be 300 units of that pin.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, James, actually, can we put up a photo of that pin? Is that possible to show anybody who's watching? Because it is gorgeous, and I'm sorry if any other vendors are listening, but Suman, I think you won the best Comic-Con exclusive of the year by far.
Thanks. I don't know. I feel dumb because I'm like, why didn't we make more? But I think it's cool. It's also, you know, there's times where we'll make an exclusive that sells out quickly, and we're like, okay, we want to make some more people happy, and so we, you know, put together some more units. And then people that got the original ones are like, oh, it's not special anymore, when it's still super limited. It's like, dude, now 200 exist instead of 100. But I think it's cool that whoever does get this pin, they'll be one of 300 people. Although we are making the limit, we're making a two item limit, because a lot of people are saying, like, hey, I want to get this for a friend. No one has 2 friends, so we're trying to limit to 2 instead of 3. So
that's fair.
Yeah.
2 friends is too many.
Yeah, no. Everyone only has one other friend. At least one other friend you're gonna buy for. If there's 2 people you're trying to buy for, that other friend, there's no way.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I can tell you right now, based on our chat, everyone is insanely happy about that news.
Oh, that's so cool. Awesome.
So I want to continue talking about Comic-Con. So in a normal year, how early do you guys start planning your exclusives for Comic-Con?
we're the worst. Like,
Trust me, I know many vendors you're not.
we're
Whatever
the
your answer is,
worst.
you're not.
So it's funny because we do it to ourselves, you know, like we've gotten better, of course, every year. But the thing is, like, even those dice that we're doing, like, I swear you know, maybe four, like, that's how crazy it is. To where, well, that's what's fun also with being able to produce things quickly, because pins, we have such good relationships and have factories that we work with that when we come up with an idea, we can make stuff so fast that it really helps with timeliness of just of conventions in general. You know, something could happen in pop culture where I'm like, oh, that would be so fun to have this item, and sometimes we can make it within that mark. And so for us, we're if we're 2 months ahead, that's usually good. But it's like sometimes it's like maybe 6 weeks or something. And there's a lot of other ways to go about it. You know, I feel like companies, one thing they do is they look at movie schedules. You look at what's coming out months, and that kind of dictates how you're going to gear your product drops. So the movie release calendar guides a lot of companies, and so I think with movies all being canceled now, it's going to be very interesting to see what products drop. Because I mean, I think Hasbro released a whole Black Widow wave of Marvel Legends figures, and there's no movie for them to go with, you know?
Yeah, there's
So
a couple
there's odd
Wonder
things
Woman
like that.
1984 exclusives. There's no Wonder Woman 1984
No
either.
movie. Yeah. So planning, like, it always changes. I mean, there's things also like the Misfits t-shirt, you know, we know we want to do that. And so, you know, Alex and I were discussing that maybe, you know, back in January or something, you know? So there's definitely ideas you get where you go, oh, that's a Comic-Con idea, like instead of a now idea. So there's little things like that where you get inspiration and, you know, okay, the place for that is San Diego because it's weird enough or it's just the right place. Interesting picking and choosing which conventions ideas will go to, or if they're just online. But now everything's online, so that thinking can stop for a little bit.
Well, speaking of Comic-Con and pins that are, you know, perfect for Comic-Con, have there been any pins that you've had at Comic-Con that really surprised you by either how well or how not so well they've sold?
Oh, Suman, you're muted.
People keep calling the house, so I'm just like trying to cut out the rings. But what I was saying was, it's so much more fun to discuss your failures than like the big wins. I think it'll stop now. Sorry. No, it's still ringing. Whatever.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Okay, so one of my biggest failures of design was do you guys watch the show Quantum Leap, or did you growing up at all?
I've seen it, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so me growing up, like I love that. It was on USA or something. But Sam Beckett and just like this sci-fi show that I connected to. So I did a pin of Sam Beckett leaping through time. So it's like the silhouette of a dude with this blue flame around him. No one knew what it was. Like, you know, it's we're lucky if we sold maybe like 4 or 5 of those or something. But I have a favorite memory of going to a Monster Palooza convention, which is a horror show in Burbank, and a guy came to the booth and he's like, "Do you guys have that Quantum Leap pin?" And I was like, "There's no way we'd bring that to a convention," just because like you have to pick and choose specifically, you know, what you're going to take somewhere. So that was a tough one. Another weird one was if you guys are fans of Key and Peele, there's a sketch where they talk about Gremlins 2 and the board meeting, like how they came up with that idea. So I did a pin of Jordan Peele's character in that, which is it was like Star Magic Jackson Jr. was the name of the character, and it's just Jordan Peele with just like blonde hair and an earring on, and I loved it, and like only a couple other people did, like not everyone did. but I think that's the fun about us as a company, where we don't really worry about how many people are going to react. We just make what we want to see. Because in the end, we're like, that's 100 pins. It's fine. Like, you know, try it out, see if it hits, and they don't always hit. So I think that's the fun thing about the I Miss SDCC pin, is that, you know, it was just something we wanted to make, and seeing people react to it like that is cool, because when that does happen, it feels really good. Last year we had no idea the RG pin would do ones that came velvet bag and stuff. Those were received super well, and that was one that we didn't expect at all. Like, we priced them super low because we're like, no one will want these. Why did we make them? And then they cleared out so fast. I think it was maybe sold out in the second day or something. So that was a nice surprise too.
They were really nice.
Yeah, they came out good. We did another run of those in a different enamel color. We did like a clear enamel for a second run of those, and they were still popular. So I'm excited to see how people like the dice, though. I think tabletop gaming is such a fun, big arena right now, in general, and I think it would be cool to see our company lean into that a little bit and see like what our humor or design sensibilities could bring to tabletop things. You know, whether that be just accessories or even cool D&D style figurines or something. I'm excited for that kind of stuff, where we've been pins for 5 or 6 years now, and getting to jump into taking what we've seen people at conventions like and love and putting that into different arenas of, I don't want to say nerd culture, but just like pop culture, what we see at cons, you know, just diving into those different areas. Because at first, you know, we're a pin company, and so we're like, oh, well, people want D&D stuff, and like, of course they do. You know, will they want a Misfits t-shirt? Yeah, they want that. And so it's fun to do those other things. And so I'm excited for that, for the future, for Yesterdays.
So you're slowly preparing for world domination of all pop culture realms.
As far as people let us, like,
Yeah.
you know, because ultimately it's up to if people like it or not. And so we never know, but it's been good so far. I think the scariest thing for us last year was our booth moved. So, you know, we were used to being by vinyl toys and places where usually just the crowd of people are collectors. You know, they buy, you know, Funko, I think, was at the far back wall there, where last year they turned it into like a whole DC Warner Brothers corner. And so we got pushed to like collectible comics and just all the comic vendors, which still connects to us because we make stuff for Skybound, Walking Dead, Saga, a bunch of comic book properties. So we like being in that area, but we're like, they're not going to find us. Like, there's no way people that have been used to buying our pins at the show will find us. So last year we went crazy, making product or coming up to that's what had our little coin hunt we did last year. So we made a very special like gold pin, and the only way you could get that is if you find these coins that we hid around the whole convention hall. And it was the first year we ever tried something weird like that, and it was really fun. Like, everyone played along. I had to have someone else hide the coins because vendors realized it was me walking around doing it, and I have the loudest like orange backpack at that show. So it's so easy to be like, oh, Indian guy wearing orange backpack, like follow him around. So literally I would hide a coin and then a vendor would just go grab it. But we caught on to that pretty quick. And I had my friend Lauren hide coins for the rest of the convention, and that worked way better. And all the people complaining about not finding these coins, we're finally starting to get them. So, you know, those are the things I'll miss that we can't do this year. Fun games like that and things you can do in a space with people. That's going to be tough, but I think when we can do it again, it's just going to be that much bigger because you've anticipated like this whole span of 2 years to get to do those convention things again. So I'm really excited to see what 2021 is going to be like. because I think all companies are going to double down and go so much harder than they have before.
If only we could get everyone in the world to double down now on squashing the virus so we can have that 2021.
Yeah, hey, I live in Orange County and we are just like the laughing stock.
No, I'm in Iowa, and I feel like we're the laughing stock because we never fully shut down and then we just reopened. We're like the Arizona of the Midwest. It's
Gotcha.
Cases have never gone down. It's
it's worrisome. And all you're gonna see online right now is people messing up, because I'm sure there's big communities of people locked down, but no one's gonna talk about it. So
yeah,
the worst voices like scream the loudest.
Of course. Well, to move on to a different subject other than the coronavirus, one of my favorite artists, Tom Whalen, which I know that you guys have done some stuff with, and you just recently had a new pin from him come out. And I was curious because Tom also does a lot of work for Mondo, but this pin, the stuff that he does for you guys looks completely different than his Mondo stuff. And I'm wondering, as an art director, like how do you give art direction to other artists?
For artist edition things, I'm much more just about production side of things, about like, oh, hey, these two colors are meeting up here. There's going to need to be a silver separating, like just tackle things. But for Tom, I mean, he's been designing pins for so long, like he's the best, because I just tell him a character and then he gives me perfect artwork and then it's done, But for his stuff, we know that a lot of people collect his character pins of the Marvel stuff for Mondo. And so when we make stuff with him for Ultraman, we want that to kind of live in that same scale and feel like you can collect those pins alongside it. So his style alone, I think, almost keeps in line with that stuff. But I think it's all him. There's not much direction from me there, because that's why you go to an artist, you want their spin on something. The only times I've ever interjected is that, physically a pin can't be made that way, or if you do make it that way, there could be some quality issues here and there. So when working with an artist, it's usually stuff like that, because people are really used to designing stickers or t-shirts where you can have any amount of colors just running together because it's just more silkscreen color. But with pins, it's a stained glass window, and you can't put green and orange without having that metal bar separating the colors. So it's interesting thinking in that way as like a coloring book. We have a really weird pin of ET inside a burrito. And
that was my very first yesterday's pin that I ever bought.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's funny because that was one of those moments where I'm just looking at ET in the little blanket, in the basket. I'm like, oh, he looks like he's in a burrito. And then so I just put him in a literal burrito. And it's so fun to have people say, oh, I like that too, when it's just the strangest thing. But to me, that was one of the very first pins I designed, if you remember that being one of the first ones you bought. So I imagined Chipotle like a silver wrapping. So I'm like, oh, pins have metal, so you can put silver as like the foil. But then I didn't realize then all the details in ET's face are going to be silver lines. And it made the whole thing look like he was being electrocuted or something, And so that was my first time realizing, okay, you have to be very specific to what's going to be the shiny metal, what's going to be a fill of color. And it's interesting thinking like a coloring book, essentially. Like there's always going to be those black line work parts, which is the metal, and then just figure out how you want to fill it.
And then do you also have to design for hard enamel versus soft enamel? Is that I know that there is a difference, but is there a difference when you're going to design for it?
It's really aesthetic. So it depends on what works best for the artwork. What I've seen personally is whenever a pin is less detailed, when it's more iconic, like a symbol or something with not many colors, then when it's hard enamel, it has a really strong, like punchy look to it. Whenever something is more detailed, or even the origins of the artwork come from cartoons or comics, then soft enamel really brings out that strong line work. So personally, that's how I kind of differentiate it. For the I Miss SDCC pin, almost all souvenir pins back in the day that I remember are just hard enamel. They have that flat finish to them, like Disney pins, stuff like that. So whenever I want something to feel a little bit older or have like a vintage feel to it, I try and make those hard enamel. For people watching or listening, soft enamel is when a pin has the little ridges in it and little valleys where the color goes in, and then hard enamel is like Disney pins where it's a flat like jewelry finish. And I feel like people mix and match though for their collections. But yeah, it's the art kind of tells you which way to go. I can definitely say the hard enamel probably has the least defects when you're making stuff. For some reason, when you get hard enamel stuff made, it comes out really nice. And soft enamel, you're gonna catch stuff where, the eyes are blacked out and like things get messed up. But not our pins, of course.
No.
Those are all perfect.
Never.
So speaking of working with Tom Whalen, you've also had a lot of collaborations and other artists you've worked with, like with Misfits in 2000 AD, Walking Dead, Tara McPherson, Alex Pardee. Is there anybody that you're looking to work with that you haven't had a chance to yet?
It's so funny. Most of the people we've worked with are through personal connections. Like, so it depends on the person. Like it's usually when I meet someone, I'm like, wow, you're so cool. Like when you meet someone as a person and they're rad and you're like, oh, I want to work with you, because there's definitely people that can make beautiful art and you do not want to work with them at all. Like, because they're so difficult to work with. And I probably shouldn't say that, but I can tell you anyone we've worked with, we work with them because they're pleasant to kind of make things with. But in terms of, I guess, if I'm trying to say just personally, I love Francesco Francavilla. He's the cover artist, and his stuff is just very horror forward. He did what was his Batman book? He's most known recently for Afterlife with Archie. He's the artist that does that book, and his work is just like, it's so, everything looks like it's a horror movie poster. It's so cool. So I know he's done pins for Mondo, but I would love to make stuff with DK.
A nice Halloween series for Franco would be, he does such good like blacks and oranges and his Halloween
just like
stuff.
Right, just him doing like vintage Halloween graphics. That would be awesome. I thought you meant the movie Halloween. I was
not that.
Yeah, no, literally.
No, actual Halloween.
So I think that's the way. That's something that's a fun angle to get at something, because, if he does something for a company, it's going to be him drawing some licensed characters or whatever. But seeing him just do his version of a devil mask or a pumpkin, like, ooh, I think that's the stuff where it gets so fun, where you're like, I've never seen this before and I want to like own it. Yeah, that kind of stuff is exciting to me.
I haven't even seen it yet and I want to own it.
Right. Totally.
Just talking about it makes me want to own it.
I'll shoot him a DM that he won't read. He's actually super nice. He's pretty rad on Twitter. He's always posting new art and sketches and whatnot.
Yeah, that guy's a machine. I've seen him crank out sketches at conventions and at MondoCon, and he's nonstop. He can like hold a like conversation with you, an in-depth like conversation about like physics or something, and still just be drawing away, and it still looks perfect. It's amazing.
Exactly, and it always ends up being like, oh, you just did another cover. Yeah. He's one of my favorites. If I were to think of anyone else, I'm trying to think of who else I collect. I'm sure there's like a friend of mine that's like, why didn't you say me? Or whatever. I think that's the fun part is most of the artists that we've worked with them already. And, we can go back to them. Someone we haven't done stuff with in a little while is an artist named Bone Thrower. And whenever we do a pin with him, it's just like the coolest pin. he uses a lot of colors, a lot of geometric like lines and shapes. I think we still have some of his pins, but if you go to yesterdays.com and search Bone Thrower, his art is so cool. Like, I'd love to make more stuff with him.
So I have a question for you. You all obviously make a lot of pen designs, but I'm sure there are also just as many that don't get made for whatever reason. Do you have a favorite, though, that's wound up on the cutting room floor or that you guys didn't get to make?
Sorry, audio cut out a little bit for me. So a pin that was not made that I would want to still get made, or what was it?
Yeah, like, has there ever been a pen that like you were really excited about, but it didn't get made for whatever reason?
One came to mind immediately because I'm the only one that watches the show and just champions this stupid pin. It's a pin set, by the way. So if you guys have seen the Netflix show, I Think You Should Leave. Do you know what that is? There's a scene with a Ford focus group where everyone's talking about building a car. And so there's that guy at the table that's just like, he's saying a steering wheel that doesn't fly out of the window while you're driving. And like, when I first saw that, I couldn't stop laughing. I sent the skit to both the owners of Yesterday's. Neither of them laughed at it. Like, no one was in on this with me. I straight up designed that guy's face. Like, I designed a little water bottle that goes with them as a 2-pin set. And it's crazy. And that was never made. So I have that art ready to go. If people are watching this and vouch for that, we'll make it if I get enough comments. But
so tweet you guys if they want that.
Yeah. Just say I want the gosh, what would that guy even be called? He's so funny. If you haven't watched that show on Netflix too, gosh.
I love that show. That's really good.
Oh man, it's just so funny about that show. Did you know that he was a head writer on Saturday Night Live?
Yeah, he wasn't there for very long.
Right. supposedly all of the sketches that you see on that show were rejected sketches from SNL. Yeah. Which is also so funny to me.
In one of the I just watched it last night, but one of the episodes of Documentary Now is about bowling. And he's in that, and it's pretty excellent. So I highly recommend.
He wrote a show called Detroiters, right? Is that what his other show was?
I'm not even familiar with his other show.
Another show that, and Tim Robinson, I think, is the guy's name.
Yes, that's.
But
I'm a big fan of him.
If I got a license with him, I'd be stoked.
Yeah.
The other guys wouldn't, but I'd be super happy about it.
So, one last question. So the pin market, you've been in it for a few years now. Is there anything that really has changed since you started? And secondly, is there somewhere where you'd like to see it go?
I think what's cool about the pin market is that so many people are in it and doing it that you're constantly like learning and seeing cool new ways to make art with pins or seeing what people do with it, because I feel like whenever people jump into it, they find their own lane. Like, I know one guy that only makes pins that are this big, and just have so many details, and he uses it as kind of a medium for art instead of like, oh, this should go on your lapel, you know? So I think it's exciting in general that way. I don't want to see it go away. I guess that's the scariest thing. It's interesting how long it stayed. When we started, we're like, this is going to last 3 years tops. We're like, people are going to be over pins so soon. And so it's been nice that people still buy ours, buy pins in general, collect. So I hope people just still are into it, because it's definitely fun to make this stuff. I don't know where else it should go, but yeah, I just hope it continues the same way it has been.
All right. That's good.
I think if you keep making them, we'll keep buying them.
Yeah.
Oh, and I have something to announce. Was that where you're going to lead into? the announcement?
We have one reader question. Let me ask
Oh,
that real
cool.
quick.
Okay.
So, Sir Lister Smeg wanted to let you know that you won the best shirt of the podcast. And are you willing to sell it off your back?
Oh, how funny. So this T-shirt is actually Tom Neely. He does the comic book Henry and Glenn Forever. It's a story about Henry Rollins and Glenn Danzig as best friends and possibly lovers living together. And so these are actually Astro Boy and Tetsujin like versions of Henry Rollins and Glenn Danzig. But I think it's the design's still up on Tom's thread list, so you can have it. You don't even need to take mine. If you want this one, that's fine. Just let me know.
That's funny. Okay, now yes, I do believe you had something to show us. James, do you want to put it?
Let's just put it up. Yeah, I don't even need to say what it is.
Yeah, you do.
There you go.
Cool. So
Awesome.
this is the Ultraman licensed SD set. So SD in Japanese toys, it stands for super deformed. So whenever you see, Funko Pops, that's really how that all started. It's kind of super deformed, like big head, small body type thing. So that's that style of art for Ultraman. So you get all 4 pins, and then this set, we made 200 of them. So it's fairly limited, and they're $25 for the set. So it's pretty great. You get 4 pins, $25. So that'll be on our site Thursday morning, 9 a.m. Pacific time.
And that does not mean tomorrow. That means next week.
right. So, yeah. Next week. Everything's next week.
And what's the website again?
Is yesterdays.com. So yesterdays.com. Yesterday, the word plural. Yeah. .com.
Cool.
And all of your exclusives will be up then, right?
Yeah. Oh, this is another thing to announce, but I want to be vague about it because if I say it now, people won't care about our website until then. Wednesday, usually there's preview night at San Diego. So
yep.
There's no preview online really, but if you go to our website, yesterdays.com, Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time, which I feel like is when preview night would usually open.
Yep.
We're gonna do something on our website we've never done in like all our years as a company. It's actually a rule we've had to never do this, but we're gonna break that rule for the first time ever Wednesday night. So when if you like our pins, you're gonna want to be on the site at that time because it's gonna be crazy what we have. And it's not necessarily something new. You're not gonna see other exclusives or anything, but I will say you're gonna want to be there. That's all I'll say.
Vague, but intriguing.
Very vague.
Very,
yeah.
very
I know
intriguing.
if I give away the turkey, no one's gonna eat for the next week.
Yeah, no. Don't give away the turkey.
No.
So what that means is everybody listening, make sure you go to yesterday's site on Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific.
Yeah.
And make sure that you go to their site again on Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific.
Next morning, yeah. You can hang out the whole night like it's the queue for Hall H or something, but
you could.
We'll be there. We'll be on the internet.
That's awesome. Okay, well, Suman, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you and Yesterday's on social or just the internet in general?
The best places is Instagram at yesterdays.co. Twitter is yesterdaysco, and then Facebook is probably also yesterdaysco. But I feel like Instagram has the most up-to-date content, although I've been way more active on Twitter. So if you want to reach me, then I'm the voice behind our Twitter. So unless it's something weird or bad, that it's someone else. But yeah, you could find me there. I have a bunch of personal links, but I'm not going to give those out. If people
I don't do that either. It's fine.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, thank you guys. This was fun. This was awesome.
Thank you so much. It was
Yeah.
such an honor to talk to you. I'm such a fan of your company and so many of your pins. So this was like this was my Comic-Con. This is great.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you
so
so
great
much.
to meet you.
Nice talking to you guys. And then Carrie, I'm sure I'm gonna email you something new
I'm
like
sure.
tomorrow.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Suman. Bye.
Good
Hey, guys.
night.
Very cool.
All
Can't
right.
wait.
Oh.
They are awesome. I'm not kidding. Like when he emailed me that pen, I'm Central Time, so I'm later. So I was asleep when he sent it, but I woke up randomly at like 2 or 3 in the morning, and I like picked up my phone and saw it was like, oh my God. And I like immediately texted him back, like, this is the greatest thing ever. So
I remember I had woke up at around 3 in the morning and I'd seen your message.
Sorry, it's funny.
What is
I
this?
felt like saying goodbye. I'm like, oh, wait, maybe they're gonna want to talk about it after. So I can't. But yeah, if there's nothing to clear, leave.
He's back.
Sorry.
He's there.
no, you're fine. And honestly, Simone, like if you just want to hang out, like we're about to do the news, you can hang out, you can comment on it.
Oh wait. Oh, for your podcast.
Yeah,
Oh, how
we're
funny.
still going.
Oh, okay, cool. That's so
Yeah.
funny. So I just interrupted the podcast by
No, that's
going-
fine.
No,
That's
so
totally
no, we
fine.
were-
This
we
is
were
what kind of
still
show this is.
we were still talking
still
about
talking.
the pin.
Ah, cool.
Yeah.
So I just messed
No, I
up.
was just saying, I'm
Um,
Central Time. I don't know if you know this,
Oh,
but so
gotcha.
you had emailed me that I Miss SDCC pen like late at night,
Uh-huh.
but I like randomly woke up at like 2 or 3 in the morning my time and saw it was like, oh my God. Like I was like
Oh,
flipping out at
shoot.
like 2 in
I'll
the
keep
morning.
that in mind. Yeah, thank you for telling me. I don't know where everyone.
No.
ended.
Email me whenever. Like
Okay,
it doesn't bother me.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm gonna legit leave because I'm gonna figure out dinner. So have a
All right.
great rest.
It's
fine.
See you guys.
See you later.
Bye.
For real this time.
Oh God.
That was awesome.
Come back. We miss you
That's
already.
Okay. Do we want to talk about the news? Because there
Yes.
actually was some. There was a
Yeah.
decent
There
amount.
was some, but let's start with I'm going to say the most important news, right?
Mhm.
We're having our SDConCast SDCC online special event starting at 11:45 a.m. on Saturday, the 25th. And we have 9 guests.
Amazing lineup.
An amazing lineup.
Stacked.
in
It is
order.
Stacked from
Will
bottom
we
to
pull this
top.
off live? Tune in to find out.
Right? Exactly. Will James have a nervous breakdown trying to get this started like last time?
How many t-shirts will James wear?
James is not going to wear that many this time. I'm going to be too stressed to changing my shirt every 20 minutes. So we're kicking it off with Zachary Levi.
I don't know.
Woo!
Does anyone familiar with him? He's
Maybe.
an up and comer.
You know,
New
I
on the
think he might
scene.
have this like company that used to be at Comic-Con. Like maybe we've heard of it. Weird.
Levi, Zachary Levi. No, it's not ringing any bells.
Then Yvette Nicole Brown will be on. And then Patrick
It's
Ballesteros.
Patrick. Yep.
And then Brittany Curran.
From the Magicians, which because of course I had to get someone from the Magicians on. If
course.
you follow me on Twitter at all.
That's Carrie's life right now is magicians. So we had to get someone from the Magicians on. And then artist and illustrator and author of Victoria Ying.
Yep.
And then
Everybody gets a little round of applause from me.
Yes.
Adam MacArthur.
Yep, who he used to voice one of the characters on Star vs. The Forces of Evil, and he also does the Boba Tea meetup every year. And he's also just an awesome guy who's followed us on Twitter for years. Like, he interacts with us like a normal guy, like, oh my God, I want that exclusive. So I was like, you need to come on because you seem like a lot of fun.
And then we're going to have on Factory Entertainment.
Yep.
Which is going to be probably Tommy and all of his cool stuff at his house, probably.
Yep.
And then Darren DePaul.
Yes, who he's most known for Overwatch, but he's also voiced things in Shazam and I think Apex Legends. He's awesome, though. He's
awesome.
Like a pure ball of energy and fun.
And then closing out the special show is going to be Toddland.
who I'm hoping nobody's going to tweet him and be like, you for sure said this, but it's my understanding that he will actually be live from San Diego. Like, I think he's going to try to do like a live stream in front of the convention center. So should be fun.
So that is our show, and tune in and see if, one, we can pull it off. Two,
Good question.
how many shirts will I wear? Because that is the second most important thing about that show.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And then three, just come and hang out for Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
You're not going to be at Comic-Con, so come hang out with us.
And all of the Comic-Con panels are just going to be on YouTube for you to watch when you want, so there's no time issue.
Yeah, and we will have a couple of giveaways.
Oh,
as
really?
Well. And yeah. Most of our giveaways will be through the scavenger hunt that if you participated in the WonderCon one, you know pretty much what it looks like. But if not, it's just an online scavenger hunt. Like, I'm not going to say it's easy, but it's not like insanely hard. But yeah, look for that as well on probably next Saturday. I might do it Friday, but probably Saturday because I know some of you have to work.
Whatever. All
I
right.
know I had the whole week off, for Comic-Con, and now I decided to take Friday off still, but I'm sort of like, I kind of want the whole week off still.
I canceled all my vacation days except for the Friday of Comic-Con, so.
I haven't asked for the Friday off yet, but I probably should.
You might want to.
Maybe. I mean, I'm just going to be sitting around doing, hanging out online, maybe watching a few panels, but figured I might as well take one day off for Comic-Con this year.
Yeah.
So
symbolic.
what other...
It's a symbolic day off.
Yes, exactly. What other big news did we get last week?
We got the schedule, which is pretty darn big news.
That is big news. And
the schedule does not suck.
No, not only that, it's way bigger than we thought it would be.
Yeah, I was impressed by the depth of it. I was impressed by the
it's really good.
Of it. Yeah.
Same.
I saw a couple of tweets today. People were like, I'm unimpressed. And I was like, what are you expecting? Like,
I feel like they're the people who say that they're unimpressed. Like, the only things they would have been impressed by at actual Comic-Con anyway were like the Marvel panel.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think their expectations were so high, they were never going to be. Yeah.
But we're getting the mix of everything that you come to expect at Comic-Con. Yes. We're getting comic panels, figure panels, science panels. NASA's doing one. We're getting studio panels. We're getting TV panels. I mean, it's across the board, everything you would expect from Comic-Con.
And not just there's movie panels too. Like there's Bill and Ted 3. Mm-hmm. There's, oh God, whatever that other movie is. His name escapes me right now. Gap Year, kids, Gap Year. But we're also getting Constantine reunion. Like we're getting all kinds of really fun stuff. Like there's some amazing stuff. And I want to talk about this. I love how many of the new streaming networks are on the schedule. I adore it.
We had Peacock, Quibi.
Quibi is through Collider, so they only kind of count. But so, yes. HBO Max though.
HBO Max
is on there. Apple TV Plus, and then Disney Plus also has their own panels that are not just part of the Marvel. So that's a lot. That's a lot. And I mean, as we have discussed internally, it definitely costs $0 to put on an online panel from the comforts of everyone's living rooms, as opposed to carting celebrities out to Comic-Con, paying for the hotel, paying for their expenses, all of that. Definitely a very different cost value here. But I really hope that this is a sign that we get some fresh blood at Comic-Con, because I love panels, but sometimes it feels like we get the same panels every freaking year. So I am so excited that there is some actual new stuff.
Just to give you an idea, there's about 100 panels on Thursday.
See, that's
Which
that's
is-
awesome. That's great.
That is awesome.
And there's stuff for educators, there's stuff for librarians. Like they didn't cut out any of that deep stuff that
Nope.
of a small, even though it's a small sector of attendees, but there is a sector of attendees that rely on that kind of programming. So
Yeah.
I'm glad they didn't cut it.
I am too.
think
I
it's
think,
good.
and I think they've promoted it really well, which like
Mhm.
bless them. I know they tried on WonderCon, but they did so
Yeah.
much of it like weeks after the convention, and it was just like no one cares like a month
Yeah.
after the con. But this time, like they've done it right. They've done a great job. So like kudos
To
to
them.
the
We
programming
don't-
team and
we
the
don't
tech
often
team
give
and
out-
whoever else
Yeah.
put that together. Good job,
Just even the
guys.
social media team. Yep.
So
We're
I would
gonna-
also like to say that we normally would do a full-on 2 full schedule podcasts, but because that podcast series that we would do right before the convention is mainly for hidden gems, room flow, expected crowds, and things like that, which none of that applies. So this is the schedule podcast is us just saying, well done, go check out the links, because all you have to do is go to the schedule on their site, and then each panel has the actual straight link to YouTube for you to watch it and when it's going to be available. And from what we understand, almost all of these will be available for as long as you want to watch them. Some of them will be timed. They will be up for only a short amount of time, maybe for the length of Comic-Con, maybe for a few weeks. We're not entirely sure because there's been no time frame given. But just if there's something that you definitely don't want to miss, just make sure you watch it Comic-Con weekend and enjoy it and make yourself,
Yeah.
a Comic-Con weekend. And then you'll be good to go. And then if there's any others that you were interested in, watch them over the next few weeks.
I think it's great. I am truly impressed. So
Unlike a regular Comic-Con, now you get to see, you will have the ability to watch.
you don't have to pick
way
your
more.
room.
No more picking and choosing. You can literally do it all.
Yeah, and they released a ton of PDFs and sound clips and things like that you can play or print out, badges, signs, so you can make your area where you'll be watching these into your own mini Comic-Con. So
Yeah, they
have at
were
it, folks.
very
Have at
generous with the assets to enjoy your experience. Of course, we have heard from the occasional folks that are a little upset that they're not getting a pin in the mail. But
Yes. Okay.
Let's-
Let me go on my rant. Okay.
yes, please do.
I know. Okay, kids, but look, you're not like missing out on your free pen. Okay. You're not missing out on your free pen. You're not missing out on your free WB bag. You're not missing out on your free programming guide. You're not missing out on any of it, because what they've done is they have taken your badge and they have moved it to 2021. So you still get all that shit in 2021. Okay. You still get your free stuff.
Your box
You just don't
will
get free
arrive.
stuff twice. And especially in a year when Comic-Con International has lost who knows how much money, like on this convention not happening, like let's not bother them for free shit. Okay. You can buy your $10 pens on their site on Wednesday, and I'm sure they're going to sell out in like 5 seconds because they actually have good merch for the first time ever. But stop tweeting me about how you wish we had a free pen this year. You still get your free pen, just next year, okay?
You just
There you
have
go.
to wait a little bit longer.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
gonna be okay.
All right. Rant over.
Yes.
Ran over.
Okay, so let's talk about some of the other thing that they're doing is actually Kim M asked, do any of you know if the exhibitors will have the access to their booths through the Comic-Con official site? And that is the same thing they actually did for WonderCon, is they will have an exhibitor page and exhibitors will be able to go in and list their website, and you'll be able to click on it to find them. So they will have an exhibitor page, but we also have an exhibitor page.
Yeah, I did. We do also have an exhibitor page. I do want to say though, I think they've actually, it's my understanding, they've actually like way vamped up this exhibitor thing for Comic-Con over what they did for WonderCon. It's my understanding that they can upload up to 10 exclusives. So it's like the normal thing on their page with like photos. And I think you can like click to buy them like from that page and it'll take you to the person's page. But that's way more than they did for WonderCon. And I think that's cool. So.
Yes, it is very cool. So, but yeah, it will be on the Comic-Con site for you to be able to find the exhibitors. But we did also want to mention to support artists and vendors. And I will let Carrie talk about this because she has all of the details much better than I do.
Yeah, so if you go to our site, the very top pinned post actually says San Diego Comic-Con 2020 Online Overview and FAQ. And if you click on that, we have very, very helpfully provided you with a directory of everyone who would have been in Artist Alley, in Small Press, and the entire exhibit floor complete with social media, websites, web stores, and you can literally just go click on either your favorite people or some names at random, and maybe you find some awesome new art or toys or pens or whatever. You can also go find yesterday's on there for those of you who kept asking where to find them. Yeah, so that it's just a nice little resource for you guys, and you can use that year round. Honestly, you can go do that right now, whereas I think CCI's their exhibitor list, I think, goes up Wednesday, and I think it goes away on Sunday, which I don't love. That I do have a slight problem with, because, like, let's just, like, why do we have to stop supporting the artists on Sunday? Like, but yeah, you can go and support artists and vendors because they definitely need it this year, and you would have been spending money at Comic-Con anyway, and there's some amazing stuff that's going to be happening. I mean, again, you've all seen that yesterday's pen. I know that Patrick Ballesteros, my favorite, has a print that he has not shown yet. That is maybe my favorite thing he's ever done. So.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. And speaking of artists, we also have the open commission list on the site. So you can go check that out if you want to grab yourself some original art, which is basically your virtual Artist Alley this year. So go check that out. A list of everyone who's open, what their prices are, if they have them, and contact information for you to go check it out. And now, it's a big one. Exclusives, because there are still exclusives.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, yes.
Who's going to start with this? Let's start.
I can.
Okay, Carrie's going to start, and then I'll go.
Okay, so Factory Entertainment has released a bunch of their exclusives, and they are super fun. The one, we'll start at the old ones, I guess. Are you putting them all up? Or which order are you going in, James?
We're just going to go in the order on there. So it's just a picture of everything.
Okay, yeah. So they've got all kinds of stuff. They've got Monty Python bandages that have quotes like "just a flesh wound," which I think is funny. They've got some Aquaman cocktail forks, which you can use to spear shrimp or cheese or whatever you want. They've got a cute little chrome resin Toto in a basket from Wizard of Oz. They've got a Green Hornet enamel pin set. Of course, they've got their yearly Back to the Future keychain, but new this year, they also added a cute little license plate that says "Out of Time." Love that.
And it comes in a VHS replica box.
It does, which is really cool. It is.
Very clever.
And yes, and then they've also got a Superman miniature. And for most of that stuff, you can actually also go to our site to, oh, there's more stuff. Do you have that on another slide?
No, we don't have any other slides. We just did one slide.
Okay. There's also a Star Trek Starfleet Academy bottle opener. Unfortunately, the teacup has sold out.
But they gave a hint that they may be having something coming on Friday that is...
On Friday, yes.
Similarly
That's what I was going to say. Yes. So, and in fact, I think I saw a couple of you in the comments asking about this thing that you wished they had made. So keep an eye out on Friday. Yeah.
And then next we have Mattel, who is coming out with a few items. And I'm expecting we're probably going to get more. But we have the Pixar Alien Remix Pizza Planet Delivery Driver vinyl.
Yep.
We have the Mega Constructs Master Chief Micro Action Figure. Those will be $20. We have the Star Wars X-Wing from Dagobah Hot Wheels. That will be $25. So we have those 3 items, and I'm pretty sure we're going to get some more.
I'm sure we will.
And they will
What
be...
I don't know, though, is
Yes.
if we're going to get any Hasbro or Lego. I've had a bunch of people ask me that, and I do not know the answer.
You'd think that we would, considering the lead time, but maybe they just shifted them to another thing like an online sale or something, and maybe they just decided not to do any. But we'll find out.
I will say Hasbro has announced a couple of things in the last couple days that we've talked about internally. We're like, this looks like it should have been a Comic-Con exclusive, but now it's just like regular retail or online, I guess. So they may be, like you said, they may be doing that with what would have been their Comic-Con stuff, but I do not know the answer. And it's my gap year, so I have not asked them.
And then, Erin, why don't you take the next one?
We've got some Patrick Ballesteros prints, a blog favorite of ours. The first one is an 8x10 print entitled Hopeful. So you can guess that might be the Star Wars one. I just kind of can't stop looking at this stuff because I feel like every single time I look at his prints, I find like a new amazing detail.
Yes.
It's just...
I know.
There's just so many things to look at, and I mean, look at Leia.
Wait.
She's spray painting. I mean, come on, it's just.
I know.
Too cute.
He kills me, and just wait until you guys see the one that's coming on Monday. I'm not kidding. It's my favorite thing he's made.
This one, Hopeful, is an edition of 200. It's only $20, and it's going to be available on Wednesday, the 22nd, 10 a.m. Pacific. I believe also on the same day is the Scott Pilgrim one, which is, I think it's also that same day. It's not on our screen, but if you check out our website.
Yeah, that one is 6 p.m. So I think he's doing like staggered releases
ones
throughout the day. Yeah.
Okay. And then his very popular 25-cent Wonder series. Is he doing like whole sets of them? Is it a whole set or the individuals? Do you know?
They're individuals,
ones? Okay.
but 3 of these are, I mean, they're basically a set. Like they're just Disney villains, baddies.
And some of those are the canvas ones, right? Aren't there a canvas option?
Yeah. Well, there was. I think they're all sold out now. He may have 1 or 2 left. But yeah, so every year he does canvas options, very limited. I think it's like 8 total per print, canvas options of his exclusives. And I think most of them sold out, but there may be 1 or 2 left on his site. You can go check if you're interested in that.
Oh, these Disney villain ones. They're pretty great. But we've got the anger management one. That's the Airbender. We've got the Disney, the baddies.
And he's got like more villains on the base of the 25-cent Wonders. It's great.
And then the Mandalorians one on there too is.
Yeah.
It's great. Mandalorian in DeLoreans. Mandalorian in a DeLorean. So good. So yes. And are those do you know his website offhand? You probably have it memorized.
I believe it's Patrick Ballesteros Art. Yeah, I'm right. It is. PatrickBallesterosArt.com is his website. So if you go on there, that is where they will be available. Yeah. Good times.
And so when are we going to see this one that you keep talking about?
On Monday.
On Monday. Okay. So there's still more from Patrick to be seen.
There's a couple of things. Yeah. He sent me the photos and the schedule.
Exciting.
So, okay, we've already talked about them and they've already been on our podcast, but let's talk about yesterday's. So as we mentioned earlier, if you did not see, they announced today a really fun metal role-playing dice set that will be available for $20. It has rainbow plating. It's full metal. It's really nice. It also comes in a little carrying pouch. They've also got a Misfits times Alex Pardee pen, which will be available for $10. It's a limited edition of 300. Of course, they have the I Miss SDCC pen, which will also be available for $10. They also, I think the t-shirt sold out because they did a pre-order. They might put more up. They might put more up on next Thursday. I'm not totally sure, but it was $30. And all of that, except possibly the shirt, will be available on Thursday, July 23rd at 9 a.m. Pacific time on the Yesterday's website.
Oh, what's next? Oh, Comic-Con. As Carrie mentioned, they have some awesome merch this year. I would like to focus in on the front of line, end of line shirt as the best thing that they probably have ever done.
I'm shocked it took them this long. Like they should have done it years ago, but I'm going to give them credit for at least getting it done now.
It's so good. I mean, I think the thing is like their stuff is usually just their logo, and like that's fun, but it's not like, I don't know. This clever. Just like, yes, this is clever, but it's totally on brand. Like it has the whole spirit of the con. Like kudos to them this year for making actual amazing merch.
And they have first time ever. They have 4 pins again this year, and the pins are also very nice. They have, the buffs, the dice, the socks, the bags, the hats, and more shirts and hoodie and all that kind of stuff. They go on sale Wednesday, July 22nd at noon. If you want some of this stuff, I would definitely suggest being on their website at noon.
Yeah, agreed. I don't know like what the quantity is on this, but purely from social media, what I would guess will be very, very, very in demand are the front of line, end of line shirt, the pens, obviously, the hoodie, possibly the women's tunic. A lot of people have mentioned that to me, and
don't the dice always sell well?
The what?
The dice.
Yeah, the dice usually sell really well, and the buffs sold out like immediately. Last time they had buffs up a couple weeks ago. So if those are the items that you are wanting, those would for sure be the items that I would check out with real fast.
And right now they do have merchandise up from WonderCon this year, as well as a smattering of past years items that they just grab out of the warehouse or wherever they had them and put them up on there and sell them. So they will randomly have different stuff. They have museum stuff. So if you're looking for something right now, check it out. If you want, you can also wait until the sale goes up and get everything into one batch. And that way you can save yourself a little bit on shipping. Just remember that if you want one of those hot in-demand items, you're going to want to get your checkout done pretty quick.
Yep.
The old stuff in your cart first, and then go before the new stuff is released.
Yeah, at 11.
Then add the new stuff, and then
stuff in there.
Yeah.
All right, and then we have up next is NECA.
Got some NECA stuff. We've got the 7-inch scale alien big chap, 30 points of articulation, including a nice hinged jaw for the inner mouth. There's a glow in the dark egg. Chest burster, face hugger. This is one of those items that is also going to be in one of the Walmart collect. We haven't specifically talked about the Walmart collectible store, but Walmart collectible store, and then NECA is also going to have it in their store at the same time. They've also got another 7-inch scale, and then that is the Ultimate Summer Games Gremlin, which is really is so much fun. And if Comic-Con was happening and Summer Games were happening, this would be just like a really cool little thing. But it's got the Gremlin. He's so funny in those little bloomers. 6 inches tall, real fabric swimsuit, comes equipped with a snorkeling mask, flippers, and a torch. You can get that on that Walmart site or through NECA's site on Thursday, the 23rd. And then we've also got, you've got the turtles over there. That's the big 7-inch scale 4-pack. Man, $149.99. Target's going to have this. NECA's going to have this. And is that it? I think so. I think it's just
Yeah,
the two of them.
I think it's just the two.
And they've got the masks. They've got a ton of like band accessories, guitars, keytars, a string bass, saxophone, pizzas, interchangeable hands. I saw some complaints on Twitter about this, saying it was just a little bit like too niche. I think it's like just weird enough. Like I think it's there's a lot of Turtles toys out there, and I feel like NECA kind of like, hey, let's do something a little bit different, and like just
really because. I mean, I feel like everybody was like reminiscing about was it the Pizza Hut when they did like the VHS concert?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I saw a ton of comments about that. Like people seemed really excited about it. The one I'm not so sure about is the Gremlins one. Maybe that's just me.
It's man, don't you think though that if it was an Olympics year, it is an Olympics year, but if we were getting the Olympics, I know this is a more of a throwback to the 1984 and that whole ad campaign that they did, but that fabric swimsuit though.
It is fun.
Gremlins fans do like the wackier Gremlins stuff.
I mean, yeah, of course.
And I really love how NECA does like all their boxes, the window boxes, everything. It always looks really, really nice.
It's gorgeous.
You can enjoy it, display things without having to open them up if you're afraid of losing pieces or getting things dusty like I am. NECA's got good stuff.
They do.
There's a few other things on our website too that they've talked about. Predator piece, maybe.
What'd you say?
I think they have a Predator piece. The Predator 7, it's the City Demon one, 30th anniversary.
That was on it. It's like he's getting struck by lightning.
Yes.
It's on the far
left. Oh, far left. Okay.
Yeah. Okay,
should have started with that one. Sorry.
That's okay. Let's talk about Monogram. So most of their stuff is currently sold out on Monogram's website, but you should, for almost all of it, have a second chance on walmart.com/collectibles. And according to the countdown I'm looking at, 1 day, 9 hours, 6 minutes, and 45 seconds. From now. But they have some cool stuff. They've got, as always, they do these little 3D foam keychains. So they've got a Mandalorian set. They've got a Dragon Ball Z set. They've got, you and I talked about this. The one that we actually weirdly love is the Hello Kitty one, because she's dressed as a kaiju and there's pens and there's a lanyard and it's really fun.
It's very clever.
I love that one. I know. Yeah. There's also a Friends one. I know that's also very popular.
Oh, and it's like the wacky Friends ones too. Like
yeah. Like Joey has the turkey stuck on his head, and a lot of it's like the flashback stuff.
Like 90. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Chandler with his crazy flock of seagulls hairdo, and Ross has got his mustache on. Yeah, it's good. It's good stuff.
It is good stuff. So like I said, most of that is currently sold out on Monogram's website, but it should be going up on walmart.com/collectibles, and you can get that link if you go to our website and go to the Monogram page in 1 day, 9 hours, and 5 minutes. So.
And can I just say, and I know I said this last year, but Monogram does such a good job with these lanyards and pins. They're such a good price point. And they're like great starter sets for pin collecting for kids. I'm always impressed with their stuff. And this Sailor Moon one, it's good stuff.
It is good stuff. They're really cute.
Yes.
And then we come to,
where else can you get like 3 or 4 pins for $20?
That's
good.
True.
You know, kids,
true.
Someone's got a $20 bill. Look what you can buy with it. It's good stuff. Sorry, go ahead.
Pins and a lanyard.
Yeah, and a lanyard.
All right, so then we come to one of the perennial favorites at Comic-Con for collectibles, and that is Funko. They have their list of all of their shared retailers, so you know where to go. I'm guessing that they're going to go up for sale soon-ish. When are they going up for sale?
When are the Funko exclusives going up for sale?
Starting on Sunday.
Yeah.
And then they'll go through Saturday. So as you can see, everything from Amazon to Toy Tokyo to the Funko shop itself, the toucans. The one that's in red, that one's the museum one, and that's the one where you have to become a certain tiered member of the museum, which I think is going to cost like $400.
$400 is indeed the lowest tier for you to get.
But it will give you the opportunity to get that toucan.
Actually, yeah, I think what somebody told me who paid the $400 was that you automatically get it while supplies last. So if you pay your $400, I think you don't have to pay like an extra $15 on top of that. So bonus.
There you go. But the one actually, I mean, everything's standard, and from what we understand, when you order them, the sticker is random.
That's what they've been at the other cons that they've done. Yes, so, but I can neither confirm nor deny that because I don't know.
Yeah, that's what we've heard happen at the other conventions. So we suspect that that's what will happen. Yeah. So if you order it from GameStop, you may get the GameStop Summer Convention logo sticker, or you maybe get the Comic-Con logo.
Yeah.
We don't know. But the one that is confusing to us is the one that says show only, the Black Lightning.
Only.
There is no show. How are we going to get that?
Yeah, so that is a very good question. What we think might, do we really even know?
We don't. But if they're having a panel that shows up on the schedule and there's some Funko folks on a panel, maybe they'll announce where it's available and only people who watch the panel will know.
Yeah.
Who knows? So that's something to look out for starting on Sunday, is where that may be available.
Yep.
Anyway, that's Funko. I don't think much is different there. And so we had a question. Sir Meg asked, do you think comic book vendors like Image and Boom will have exclusive covers this year? I think some of them have been. I think IDW has been tweeting out some stuff.
Yep, IDW has tweeted several things. They've got some fun stuff. They do. I have not seen anything from Image or Boom, but I have also not looked. Gap year.
I think that Skybound is doing their own things. Their own online Skybound Expo. So I would imagine some things would be released with that.
I think a lot of companies are doing that, and we are just not covering a lot of that stuff. Like, I truly think almost all of these little company cons or like DC fandom or whatever the case might be, I feel like 90% of that stuff is stuff that would have been at Comic-Con, but because it's under other branding and because they're like their own thing and they're not all happening at the same time, we're just not covering it the same way. Mm-hmm. So, and I mean, again, this whole year is weird, so our coverage is just very different. So my suggestion this year would truly be to go and look at the individual companies' social that you care about.
Corey in the chat says that the shared stores, if you buy it from the shared store, you'll probably most likely only get the shared sticker for the majority, but the Funko shop will be a crapshoot whether you get one or the other. So there you go. Anyway, there's a ton of other exclusives on the site. You can check it out. Things like Ninja Bots, commissions and pre-orders, Udon's comics, Icon Heroes, collectibles, QMX's collectibles, Entertainment Earth's wide range of collectibles. They always have a whole bunch of stuff. Beast Kingdom, Toynami, and Diamond.
Yeah, Beast Kingdom stuff is actually on Walmart, same as Monogram here in like 2 days. And there's a couple of other companies, I think, as well on there. So you really might go check that out. Yeah.
All right. So, that's the exclusives. It's like all that stuff that we normally take a little bit at a time every week for 10 weeks before Comic-Con.
What are you talking about? We would normally have this much in like a week, and this time we're like, oh, we haven't done a podcast in a month.
I don't know. That still felt like a lot.
That's because I ramble too much. I turned three things into like 17 things.
We did take longer, but that's okay. I mean, we're getting much smaller doses of Comic-Con this year, so let's savor them a little bit more than we normally would.
Plus,
So
this is our gift to the viewers and the listeners.
Listening to us
I'm
talk.
not sure they would agree with that. But there's some really good stuff this year, guys. Like I said, I personally am very impressed. I hope that there's some stuff that you guys are impressed with and excited for, because look, like, this is a terrible year for a whole hell of a lot of reasons. And it's okay to be excited about this. It's okay to want just a tiny little bit of normalcy. So
Yep.
we're excited.
We deserve this.
Yeah.
We deserve this to have this fun and to spend a little bit of money on things that we might think are frivolous. And
yeah. We will fight you for those I Miss SDCC beds.
I will.
So Comic-Con online starts in a week.
Yep.
It's still crazy.
I know.
Even online,
it's
still crazy. It's only a week away.
Like, I have slept. Like,
no,
in a normal year, this would not be the case.
That's true.
We have a well-rested Carrie for the first July in how many July?
10 years.
Yeah. In almost a decade. So leading up to next year, we probably will be doing attendee of the week again. So if you want to be attendee of the week, and we'll store them all. So if you haven't done that yet and you want to send it in, go check it out on the blog. And also, you can also click the link on the homepage for our Patreon. We would like to thank everybody who has supported us for the last year now, because I think we started it about a year ago. And we really appreciate every single one of you for donating and giving to us every month. It keeps the lights on, as they say. And we really appreciate that.
We do. We really, really do, guys. It pays for our hosting. Yeah, so
and
next weekend,
as we mentioned, we will be back in exactly 9.5-ish days for the epic 3+ hour live SDCC online event with 9 special guests. And
so we have 9 special guests, 2 main hosts,
3 hourly hosts,
3 hourly
rotating hosts, yeah,
rotating hosts. Yeah,
and a partridge in a pear tree.
That's a lot of moving parts.
Yes, it is.
And a prize mule in a pear tree. Come on now.
Yeah.
Holy cow. All right. Can we have a newsletter?
Not this year. I've actually had a lot of people ask, and I'm like, we're not sending it this year because I don't want to pay for it.
but if you want it next
but
year,
yeah, you can absolutely sign up for our newsletter. The link is in the show notes or on the sidebar of the site, and we will send it next year. So,
all right. So thank you all for joining us on this lovely Wednesday evening before Comic-Con, the week before Comic-Con. Erin, where can we find more of your work on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Bavarian Erin. And Carrie, where can we find more of you on the internet?
You can find me on the internet at Carrie Dixon, talking exclusively about the magicians. James, where can we find more of you on the internet? It's not a lie.
You can find me everywhere on the internet at Dan Regal on all the social medias, and check out the website, geekshotphoto.com, for photography and social media links for my wife and I. My wife being Beth, our producer, and I would like to thank Beth for editing the show, creating and showing you all of the slides, and doing all the things that gets this podcast done and into your ears and eyes.
Thank you, Beth.
Yes, thank you, Beth. You are amazing. We are on iTunes. If you'd like to subscribe, the links are up on the blog, or you can search for SDConCast. If you like what you've heard so far, please review us. We are also on Stitcher Radio, and the link is in the show notes.
If you want to get a hold of us, you can send us an email at sdcomiccon.blog@gmail.com. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/sdconblog, or tweet us at sd_comic_con. Thank you all for listening and watching, and everybody, go
Shawarma.
Now, how do I turn this thing off?